Welcome everybody to Auto Valley Vintage Motorcycles. Another episode coming up on the ZX6R. In this episode, you're going to see me take this titanium Hindle exhaust system that was previously on this bike, and I take it off and we put on this really nice Austin Racing exhaust. You're going to see us go through a few other little things, some carbon fiber upgrades. We take this bike for a test ride with the Hindle exhaust on it. With the camera on the bike, so you can kind of get a little hear what it sounds like, and we take another test ride with the Austin Racing exhaust. So stay tuned, because you're going to want to hear this exhaust system fire up. But a 1/2 inch diameter, thicker, wider in diameter than this Hindle one, so it's got a lot more throat to it. So you're going to want to hear this baby roar. Then later on the next episode, we're going to take this Hindle exhaust and we're going to put it on this older model ZX6R. It's got a great big can on it, so it doesn't sound that great, so we're going to put this nice system on it and see what that sounds like. So in the comment section, let me know what you think of these exhausts. Do you like the Hindle, or do you like the Austin Racing one? Is the Austin Racing one too loud, or do you like the sound of the Hindle? Let me tell you, this Hindle is pretty loud as well, so if you like loud pipes, they're pretty good. There is a baffle that goes in this thing, but my client didn't want it to go in there, so we just left her wide open. So you'll get to appreciate the nice sound of this thing. And another thing, when we're going through this video, you'll see I went and picked this bike up at a bike shop for my client. He bought this bike brand new in 2011, and he's been having it serviced every year. And I picked it up from the bike shop. He asked them to maintain it whatever it needs every year, so the bike's well taken care of. You're going to see some things that I noticed after picking it up from the shop that I thought weren't exactly super cool, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the video. Okay, I just heard back from my client. I made him a few suggestions of some things that we could do to this beautiful ZX6R. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to put on this nice Austin Racing titanium pipe with carbon tip. We're also going to remove these rear foot peg, passenger pegs and brackets. We're going to go with a Fender eliminator kit, so that's going to be gone and tucked back a little bit closer to the bike. We're going to take the signal lights will be back here a little bit. We ordered him a carbon fiber hugger. We also ordered him a carbon fiber chain guard, and we ordered a carbon fiber fender. We'll remove the reflectors, and these bar ends, they're a little bit rubbed from grips and stuff like that, or sorry, rubbed from hands rubbing on it and everything. So we're gonna remove those, and we're gonna put on a nice set of lever protectors. They come out and they go around like this to keep from hitting the levers if you're on the track or something like that. If you bump into somebody else too close, whatever, then you don't accidentally hit the clutch, or more importantly, hit the brake and flip over the handlebars. So yeah, so we got a few nice things we're gonna do for this bike. So stay tuned and follow along. So for starters, we need to remove these and get a measurement of his bar to see what size they are. Oh boy, they're really on there. You can see why these were so hard to get off. There's a like a thread locker on there. Not surprising, you don't want these coming loose. So now we'll get a wrench on that and pull that off. So we're just gonna have this with a socket. threaded bar. Okay, so we need to measure this up. 627 thou. We'll convert that to millimeters and we'll be able to order the brake lever guards. So we got both bar ends off, and now we'll order the lever guards to cover his levers. Nice carbon fiber ones. All right, won't be needing these. And we're going to tidy up this. There, with that foot peg bracket off, when that carbon hugger comes in, you're going to be able to see it a lot better. It's going to look really good. All right, we got a few goodies in for the ZX6R. I'm doing for a client. Stuff is going to trickle in. I got everything on order, slowly coming in. So we got a nice set of spools for the swing arm. Those are pretty sweet. And some frame sliders. Some protection for your frame. Those are nice. LED for the back Fender eliminator kit. Pretty nice. I also got him a brush for cleaning his chain. All right, we got a bit of a rainy day here. We're going to be working on this ZX6R. We bought some nice little goodies to go on it, including these rear swing arm spools, and they're all, not only are they spools, but they're actual sliders as well, in case you have a little crash. So they're made by Vortex. It was a guaranteed fit, and there's the bolt that they go into right there, and as you can see, there's your guaranteed fit. So not cool. We're gonna have to send those back. I confirmed, I have a little set of gauges here. I confirmed that they're actually M10s, not 8s, which was what was sent. So there's the M10. Fits in there really nice. And instead they sent an M8. As you can see, it's much smaller. So we'll send those back and get another set. So I sent the spools back that were the wrong size. They sent me 8mm rather than 10. And these are the replacements. So let's have a look. Hopefully these guys will fit. There they are. So I'll get a knife and open these up, and we'll see if they fit on the ZX6R. All right, so I got them out. They look pretty good. So you got the spool where the stand will grab, and lift the bike. And then this part here, in case you have a crash, it'll protect the swing arm. So we're going to grab the right size Allen key. There we go. That should do the trick. And a little bit of red Loctite. Let's go put these babies on. Okay, so the swing arm spools go right in here. 10mm bolt. I must say I'm a little disappointed that they sent steel bolts rather than stainless. You'd think for the amount of money I paid for these things, you'd think it would at least be a stainless steel screw on here. Oh, I got a little friend helping me. All right, so it's best to just pre-check first before you add the Loctite. Make sure that it's the right size thread, because they did send me the wrong size once, and that looks like it's going to fit. So take that back off. We'll put a little dab of Loctite on here. Don't need very much. Screw her in and tighten her down. There it is. Those look pretty badass. Very nice. Now I'll just do the other side. There we go, the other side. I got a helper here. Same deal. We'll just put a little bit of Loctite on there, and we'll put these babies on. Hard to do this with one hand. There we go. These are going to be great. There we go, nice and tight. Those look good. All right, so another package just came in from Italy, actually, for that ZX6R that I'm working on. It's hailing and pouring really hard outside, so you can kind of hear that stuff going on out there. Yeah, these are going to be pretty cool. From extreme components.com. Cat's probably freaked out because of the storm. These things were super expensive. So hopefully they'll be worth it. What's up, kitty? Look at these bad boys. All carbon fiber zebra guards. The cool decals came with it. Kind of cool. I think my client is really going to like these. I mean, how could you not? Oh yeah, very nice. Yeah, these are awesome. Look at these beautiful pieces, carbon fiber. Oh, I think he's gonna like these. Really nice carbon fiber. Those are going to look really good on the bike. Well, we got a bit of a big box in here today. So I suspect this is for the Ninja I'm working on. Mind you, I am working on 2 Ninjas at the moment. But I have a client who wanted some carbon fiber on his Ninja, among a few other things. So I think that's what this box is. Unfortunately, they didn't have everything. Some of the parts were still in production, but I got them to send me what they had. And they'll send me the rest when it's done. Nicely packaged anyway. This looks like the chain guard that I ordered out of carbon fiber. We're dressing up this Ninja nicely. And oh boy, look at that. Is that ever nice? That is going to look so good on the bike. Beautiful piece. All right, let's see what else we got here. It's from hotbodiesracing.com. Took a couple of weeks to get it from the States, but when I look at that chain guard, it was worth the wait. A little decal. Yes, Kat, we can't open up a package without you, eh? So you probably guessed what this is. got him a nice front fender. Look at that. Is that ever nice? Just beautiful. That is going to look so good. All right, let's get a closer look at this here. Look at that. Holy, that is nice. Man, they make nice carbon fiber. So nice. Okay, so we've removed the bar weights, the bar end weights that go on the sides of the bike, and we just got these new lever guards in from Italy, and they came with a couple different size adapters, as you can see here. So you got one end that's threaded and one end that's not. So you put the end that's not in there, and then the threaded end goes into the bar, and then when you put the bolt through, it grabs the threaded end and pulls it, and it just basically swells like that and keeps it tight. So also came with a little spacer to keep it away from hitting the ball end of the longer lever. So maybe in the future he may get a shorter lever, maybe a carbon one or something. We'll see. All right, so let's put this baby on. So a bolt goes through there, like so. The spacer is going to go in there like that, so that's going to go there like this. And then the non-threaded end in, and then the threaded end in. And we'll just, you see how it's kind of a little bit of an angle. So you got to kind of get it started by hand first. Make your life a little easier. And then you can thread them both together to get them almost touching, or touching. Now it's starting to swell there, so that's probably too much. So right about there. Insert. And start to tighten her up. So it'd be personal choice as to exactly where you put it. So he may want to move it a bit, but I'm thinking right around there would be good. There we go. Then we do the other end. See, it looks pretty nice. And there's the other side. Looking good. So next up, we're going to put in those little sliders that go in here to protect your fork. All right, so we got these slider bobbins. Pretty easy to go in. Feed it through from the back, like so. You need a pretty skinny socket to fit down in here like that. Turn to the back side, threading her in. Tighten her down. There she is. I'm actually thinking I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on that. I don't want that to come loose. All right, so better to be safe than sorry. We'll put a little Loctite on here. And we'll just snug her back down. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to remove this fender. We're going to replace it with a carbon fiber one. We've already moved the reflectors earlier. I just hope the little brake line holders go into the carbon fiber okay. There's the old fender. Not a bad looking fender, but the carbon fiber one is going to look a lot nicer. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a cleanup while I'm here. A little easier putting the front stand on, getting her in the air. Get this wheel cleaned up a little bit. All right, new carbon fiber fender. There she goes. Get a bolt there and put it in. Looking good. Well, there's the carbon fiber installed. Looking good. Got the carbon fiber lever guards. Got the spools on. That's looking good. Okay, next up, chain guard. So we're going to take off this old chain guard and we're going to put on a carbon fiber chain guard. So we're going to have to take off the heel guards in order to access the bolt to get the chain guard off. That's no big deal. And while we got the chain guard off, be a good time to give the chain a good cleaning. You can always tell how well maintained a bike is by looking at the chain guard underneath. See how well the chain was oiled and stuff. I think these heel guards will look good in carbon as well, but that's just my opinion. We got a new hugger on order too. Tail hugger, tire hugger in carbon. Well, that's really going to fight me. Wonder if I took that down off the stand, if I can get the wheel up a little higher. We'll try that out. Didn't look like it moved much. So back up on the stand again. Having a little trouble accessing this bolt, so I'm just going to loosen off the rear sets. They'll slide down out of the way. I'm not going to touch the gear shift adjuster or anything like that, just to get access at that bolt. There we go. Don't even have to take the other one off. bet you this is caked underneath. Well, not too bad. A little bit here. Give you an idea. Just a little rubber boot there. Just trying to clean up some of the gunk and that's in there. It's actually not too bad. Chain tension is pretty good. So if you don't have one of these brushes, these are handy to have when you're doing in around these areas and chains and stuff like that. Just a bunch of crap there. Kind of brush it out of the way, and then you can see how it's like that. You can just grab the chain like so, and turn the wheel. Gets all the crap off. Go on the side like that. Putting downward pressure to get to the inward part of the chain, and then upward pressure to the other side. Now, to help clean it, just going to put some WD-40 on. Get back in there again. And then you can take a rag, hold a rag there. So nice and clean that's getting. And then you clean up your mess that you made. See how nice and clean that chain is now. And then I'm going to lubricate it with some of this stuff here. Motul. I like this stuff. This is pretty good. Before I do that, I'm just going to give her a little cleanup inside here while I'm here. Why not? right, we got her cleaned up a little bit in the back end. Cleaned up that rear wheel. It was really, really, really dirty. It looks much nicer now. So now we're just going to give this a shot of oil. I'm just coming through the back here. I'm going to put it, rest it on one of the links, start turning, and then start spraying. A little back and forth. There we go. Chain's nicely lubricated. Now we'll bring out that carbon fiber fender or chain guard and put it on. Okay, here's that nice carbon fiber chain guard. Wow, that looks pretty nice. Here we go. Looking good. Nice carbon fiber chain guard. Wheel all cleaned up. Carbon fiber fender. Carbon fiber lever guards. This bike is looking badass. Okay, I'm gonna want to pull off the seat on this guy. So in order to do that, I gotta get this panel off. So I'm gonna take off this bolt here. Don't like to use the ratchet too close to the gas tank in that because I don't want to scratch it. Now it is just Velcro here. I could just lift this off and access the bolt, but I don't want to put any extra pressure on this plastic. And I got to take the tank off anyway, so this is going to come off anyway, so might as well just take it off now. This comes off like that, and then this, just the Velcro, like that. Now I can access the bolt for the seat right there. Gonna have to get an extension to get in there. There we go. And we'll do the same for the other side. So I just pulled off this panel. I went to get the bolt out for the seat, and guess what? Missing bolt. So this bike was just serviced and had an air filter changed, and I picked it up at the shop. And I guess they forgot to put that bolt in. Not cool. Yeah, the owner of this bike asked me to pick it up at a shop where he had it stored. And I guess they forgot to put that bolt in. That's not good. So I'll give you a little look-see under the seat. Doesn't look too bad. A couple little twigs and stuff in there. See, the tank looks like it's on some sort of a pivot. So we'll get that up and out of the way because I'm going to change the spark plugs on this for him. So look at this, the battery wasn't even strapped down. They said that they charged up the battery. They didn't even put the covers on. I don't know what this is. These top bolts hold the steering damper down, and it's a bracket for the fuel tank. The heads of these bolts look like they're a little bit stripped. Somebody was using the wrong size Allen key on it. We just move the steering damper out of the way. Just lift off like that. Set that back down. Nice. Quick release fuel tap. That's good. Yeah, there's a bolt down there. Or a screw, I should say. So there's the beast. Okay, so they said they changed the air filter. Let's have a look here. Does that look like a new air filter to you? Box is pretty dirty. I like to change the, clean out the box when I change the air filter. But okay. Okay, so we're just gonna clean out this air box a little bit, clean out the flies and everything that are inside. Give that air filter a clean up. You can actually see it looks like sand. Look at that. That is not good. Okay, we're gonna give this air cleaner a little cleanup, get rid of some of these flies and stuff. So you'll notice how when I was cleaning this filter, I was sucking the dirt and flies up instead of going back in, because we don't want to make any passageways going into the motor. We're trying to get everything to come back out this way. So if I'm going to blow any air, I'm going to blow it in this way, blow it back out. So I vacuumed most of it out. I did see a few little like little needles from a tree or something in there, which makes me think maybe this was not exactly a new filter, but we'll see. I'm just blowing any crap back out. All right, so I went through every single pleat and loosened up all the little pieces of flies and crap that was in there, and then blew everything out. So now she's nice and clean. One little speck there. Okay, so we're going to remove this bolt here, and that'll help us access the spark plug by getting the lower part of the airbox out. Okay, so to get the lower airbox out, this bike has got a little bit of a secret compartment. You gotta pry this little cap off. This is a top guarded secret. So this will go in this hole, but it won't quite go through the next hole. So what I'm gonna have to do is, you see this Allen key, even that, when I get in there, I can't get on it. It's just not deep enough. So we're gonna have to make a little tool. So I put an Allen key in here and I straightened it out, but I didn't want to make it perfectly straight because I want to be able to twist it when I get it inside there. Okay, so here I am. I've got my tool straightened out. Put my vice grips on here. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to see if I can let you see what I'm doing here. That's the Allen bolt I'm trying to get at, right down inside there. Not easy. Not super easy, but that's the way it goes. At least I got an access hole here for me. All right, so see if I can loosen that off. Okay, I'm in the hole. I don't want to scratch the frame. In again. There we go. Now I should be able to loosen that off without the pliers now. And then we'll have to go around and do the other side. Here we go, that should be loose enough to get that side off. And then, so now we'll go around the other side and we'll do the same thing. Okay, so I got both sides loosened off now. Okay, so I got the seat clamp. Okay, so I got the hose clamp loosened off. I'm just protecting the frame with this glove. And now we're just going to pry the boots off of the carburetors. That's one. That's two. Now we'll go around the other side and do the other side. Here we go. You never know what kind of little critters we get here when we're working on the bikes. There we go. I shouldn't have to take this all the way off. Just hold it like that so I can get at those plugs underneath. I should be able to access them there now. I think it'll give us a little more room if I pop this off. It's just a matter of taking that off and that one off. I just didn't want to take off any more fuel injection lines, but I don't mind a couple of hose clamps. Every time you take off those fuel injection lines, little plastic caps on there, you're taking a risk of breaking something, so I don't really want to do that. Almost off. There she is. A lot of work just to get at these spark plugs. That's why they pay me the big bucks. There she is. Okay, to get these spark plug leads off, a little tricky. You push down on this little tab here, pull that back, out of the way. To get these out is rotate them a little bit just to loosen them up, back and forth a wee bit. And then I use a tire iron, tire spoon, just get under there. It's just plastic, so you got to be careful, but just gently give it a little pull up like that. There it is. Number 4 cylinder. Let's see if I can show you the spark plug down inside. Down there pretty deep. Alright, that's where we gotta get the spark plug out. Okay, now to get that spark plug out, so I have a special spark plug socket here. I'm gonna put down the side, way down the side. Feels good so far. I'm anxious to see the color of these plugs so I can tell how lean or rich the bike is running. See if we might have to remap to put on that other pipe. There she is. 1 down, 3 to go. See, it's a nice brownish tan color. Pretty good. Looks a little old, but seems to be running pretty good. So old versus new. She does look like she's running a little hot. You can see how it's discolored all the way up. We'll put these new ones in. I'll just put the plug back in here like that. I've already checked the gap on them. They look good. Like so. And down she goes. Not too tight, but tight enough. Now we'll do the other 3. So put a tiny bit of dielectric grease on it. And we'll drop her back down inside. We want this to really bottom out nicely. We're really looking for a good snap here. Yeah, I heard a double snap. That's good. Nice. We'll hook our lead back up. Listening for another snap. Perfect. We'll move on to this one. So this should just pivot because it's on rubber hoses. Up out of the way. This is the one that we just pried. See how easy that comes up. A little bit of oil there. Blow by. It's not good. Maybe the spark plug was loose, but it's not good to see oil coming up out of the spark plugs. I'm a little nervous about this spark plug. What it's going to look like. It's definitely a little too much oil for my liking. Not terrible, but not good. A little brown, borderline white, which we run a little hot again. Bit of a lean condition. Threads are a little bit wet with oil. Look at that. So I'll have to check with my client, see if this is the first time the plugs have been changed. Maybe they're just original plugs and there's like a little gasket right here. Maybe it just blew by over the years. I'll put a new one in here. New plug going in. Get some dielectric. I'll wipe down the oil off of this. I'll put some dielectric grease on there and pop that back in. Okay, I got that wiped down. A little bit of dielectric grease on there. Same deal. Down. There we go. And the lead goes underneath this wiring harness and snaps like so. It was pointing slightly off that way, so that's the way I'm going to keep it, so when this comes back down it won't be in the way. And then we'll work our way into this one, off and up out of the way, give her a little turn, and we'll give her a little pry up, and now we got 2 left to do. All right, so we've got our 4 plugs replaced and all the leads back on. Let's put back into place. So now we can start putting her back together. Here's the old plugs. Number 1 cylinder, 2 cylinder, 3 cylinder, 4 cylinder. So this is the one that was a little soaked with oil. Wiped it down a wee bit, but they don't look terrible. A pretty good brown color. Running a wee bit hot, but nothing serious. So we got this air box all cleaned up, the lower section, inside and out. I put a little bit of oil inside the boots here, so it'll slide over the carburetors a little bit easier. Or sorry, I guess they're not really called carburetors because it's got a fuel injection system. So we'll hook up this line here first. Good. Like that. And then this one back on. All these little vents. Clamps, can't forget the clamps. There we go, we'll get that in, snap down, tighten down the sides and get her back together. Okay, so you can see I got these clamps back on. I'm going to put this bolt on, but before I do, I just want to see, you see how this is seated? You want to make sure that it's down, right down onto these throttle bodies, because you don't want any air leaks. Now we'll tighten up those hose clamps in there, and then we're good to go. Okay, so we got the throttle cables back tied down, air filter all cleaned up. Put that back into place like so. These have been bolted down, everything's cleaned up. Put this cover back on, and we'll tighten that down and tighten all this down and hook up our fuel line and fuel gauge, and the tank can go back on. Put these little plugs back in, our little secret plugs, and we're good to go. So the air box all snugged up. Just pay special attention here. These wires, they have to go into the side of the airbox before you screw it down. It's like a little clip here that holds them in place. So it's good to make sure that the proper wire routing is done. And you can see the wires are not actually pinched. Okay, so I took a little extra time, got the battery cap on there. Protect from any anything shorting out. Not a big deal, just pop it back on. And then this strap that wasn't hooked up properly, or actually it wasn't hooked up at all, Just a matter of taking it, sliding it down through, like so, and snapping it down in here, like so, so it's tight. And then feeding this down here. Little tab to hold on to and pull. There. Now the battery's secure. See the strap comes down here, hooks on into that, comes up, hooks in there. Now the battery won't go moving around if you're doing any wheelies or sliding over to one side. A little extra time, but needs to be done. Now we gotta find a new bolt to go in here for the seat. It's right here. That bolt was missing. Okay, I got the tank bolted back down, steering damper back on, fuel line hooked up. I was calling this a fuel gauge earlier, but it's actually the electronic fuel pump. This bike doesn't actually have a fuel gauge. So it's just a matter of snapping that together, putting that down. The batteries, covers back on, straps on, bolts on here, vents are hooked up, and they are routed down and out. So yeah, we're getting pretty close. All right, so we're just going to try starting this baby up. Perfect. Got those new plugs in. Sounds pretty good. So there's the proper bolt. That was one on one side and one missing. So I don't have the exact bolt as that, but I do have the same thread with a washer. So at least I'm going to put that in so that the seat is actually bolted down for the guy. And he'll order in my next round of stainless steel bolts. I'll get him one replacement. He's gonna have this bike serviced here, probably stored here for the winter, so there's a few other little things that I'm gonna do to it. So have him a replacement bolt at that time. In the meantime, that'll hold. Don't tighten it down first, you can put the other side in and then snug down both sides. Okay, next up, we're gonna remove that lower fairing so that we can replace this exhaust system. So we're going to take that lower fairing off so we can access those clamps. And the new exhaust system is going to bolt underneath the rear set. So we'll have to take a bolt out of that too, and then we'll probably remove this. So stay tuned. So I got a little rag underneath here in case the fairing drops on me. I don't want to scratch it. So underneath the bike, I just removed the bolt there, and I'm about to take this one here off. cat coming to visit me again. There's a bit of a hanger right there. We should be able to loosen that off and get this exhaust out. I got the fairing loosened off enough that I should be able to put that up there to get that bolt out without having to take the whole fairing off. Alright, so I got her unbolted. So I'll bolt her here, take the springs off, take everything off, slip it right off. So I got this little hook tool for taking off these exhaust springs. That's one. Two. There's a nut on the back of that. I have to get a wrench. Oh, that's light. Titanium. Pretty sweet. Yeah, it weighs next to nothing. So this is the bad boy we're going to be putting on here. We're going to have to remove this foot peg because it's going to bolt up there, but that's what she's going to look like. Very nice, so stay tuned, we'll be firing this up real soon. I'm going to remove those rear foot pegs. So with the rear foot pegs off, and I'm putting the other foot peg back on here now. Which dubs as the mount for the exhaust. That is looking good. Very nice. I sprayed a little oil on this so I can tighten it down a little bit. Get that back in position to tighten that up. Let that seat a little bit better. Tighten up this fairing and we'll be able to hear this baby roar. Okay, we're gonna fire this up before we put the little cover on the exhaust in case there's any leaks. I want to be able to fix them. So here she goes. Okay, so we're going to see if I can let you hear that ticking sound that's in the top end of this bike. Now, I know the exhaust is kind of loud, but can you hear that ticka 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 ticka? That's the top end. So yeah, it's going to definitely need a valve check and probably a little bit of an adjustment. According to this decibel reader, it's not quite as loud as the stainless steel, or sorry, the Hindle exhaust. But I can tell you by personal experience that this decibel meter has got to be wrong, because this thing is way louder than the Hindle exhaust. But that was still a fun experiment. been doing some checks with the exhaust on this. So we compared the Hindle, the titanium Hindle exhaust that it had on there. I don't have the stock exhaust for this bike. So you heard the Austin Racing exhaust. Now here is an exhaust on a stock ZX6R, but an older model. So it's the closest we can get to hearing what it sounds like. Big can on it, kind of ugly, but sounds kind of crappy. I shut it off because I'm actually probably running out of gas. I didn't turn on the fuel, but yeah, so that's what the stock exhaust sounds like. All right, so the other day when I was cleaning up the wheels on this ZX6R, getting it all ready for my client, I couldn't help but notice that it looks like it has thrown a couple of wheel weights, one here, one over there, on the rear wheel and on the front right there. So there's no wheel weights on this bike at all. Anyway, I let my client know what I noticed, and he asked me to balance these wheels for them. So I'm going to pull these off and get them all balanced up for him so that the bike will be running good for him. When he's at high speed, we don't want any wobbles or anything like that. How you doing, everybody? So you'll notice when I was doing the spark plugs on this, and I pulled out that number 3 lead, it was soaked in oil. Spark plug was had a bit of oil on it, and I was a little concerned. Since then, I noticed that it was also making a ticking noise in the top end. So obviously, like the valves or the timing chain could be, it has an automatic timing chain on this, but they don't really work super good. So it's better to have a manual one so you can actually take that slack up. But I think it's the valves. So I got in touch with my client, and he is the actual original owner of this bike, and he had it serviced every year, and the shop never did a valve adjustment for him, which is not good. I mean, these things, they wind up to like, what's this go up to, like, the red line starts at 17,000, so it's really screaming. Now, he doesn't ride it that hard, but bikes that are revving up like that, they need to have proper valve adjustment. So anyway, so I was a little surprised that the valve adjustment wasn't done, but then that got me thinking, underneath the valve cover, there's rubber, like an O-ring that goes over the spark plugs. Or where the spark plugs sit. So quite possibly, like if it had its regular maintenance, you put a new gasket in there, new O-rings in there, so keeps it fresh. But this bike's got 27,000 kilometers on it, and the valve cover's never been off. So I suspect and I hope that it just got a little dry, and we got some oil that kind of leaked in past the O-ring and went onto the top part of the where the spark plug is, and the spark plug lead. Hopefully that'll fix it. So I'm going to do that maintenance for him. Not today because I'm pretty busy, but he's going to, I mean, it is ticking, but it's not super bad, and he doesn't do a lot of mileage, so he's going to ride it for a little bit, and then he's going to bring it back to me a little later on, and we'll do that maintenance for him. So it is important to get those valves checked. I mean, you don't want to wreck your cam on these things because it is expensive to get that type of work done. It's not surprising. A lot of shops don't want to dig right down into these bikes because they can be very difficult to get at. You got to take the tank off, the air box, and all that stuff off. So it can be a little cumbersome to get at, but it is important. Shops do charge a lot of money for that maintenance, but there's a lot of work that's involved with it. So stay tuned. We're gonna finish this video with doing the. I got a tail tidy that I'm gonna be putting on this, and I got some frame sliders I'm gonna put on. I'm gonna balance the wheels, and then that'll be it for this video. We'll come back, do another video later on with the valve adjustment. 4 bolts in here, attaching the rear fender on. So we'll just get those pulled out. And then we'll have to disconnect the wiring for the signal lights. Bolts are just right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've already removed the license plate. Okay, so we had to dive in a little deeper than expected. I had to take the seat off, this cover off, because we're trying to get at these this wiring harness right here on the side to disconnect the rear signal lights. So there, I've disconnected it. So now I can start feeding that through. So here's the other one. Just feed it down through that little hole. You'll see it coming out the bottom. There we go. And one to go. And this is your third wire. So this one here is actually for your license plate light. You gotta hang on to it because that's what's holding on the whole tail section here now. Not the tail section, but the little fender. There, now it's off. So now we'll remove these signal lights and attach them to the new tail section I have for it, for the tail tidy, and we should be good. Okay, so I got the new tail tidy all bolted up, the old one off. Just a matter of putting the signal lights on, putting the plate on, and running the wiring. But that definitely tidies this tail up real nice. It's nice and solid too. All powder coated, looking good. Okay, so I removed the old fender piece that had the signal lights attached to it. These will be a simple plug and play, but if you look, there's no mounting holes for the signal light. So the signal light will go through like this. But there's nothing to bolt it to. No hole there. That's the mounting hole there, the screw for it. So I'll just have to take off this plate and drill a hole in here on either side, and then I'll be able to mount that on there. But this was supposed to be a system for this bike. As you can see, sometimes there's some fabrication required. The other thing, I took off the rear light for the license plate, and I could mount that in there like that. Drill a couple of holes, put it in there. It wouldn't look too bad. Or I could use this LED that came with it. So the LED, the wiring would just go through here, like so. I'd have to cut these ends off. It's not a big deal. Hard to do this with one hand. Pull it through, and then the LED would mount right there like that. It actually doesn't look too bad. And then I'd have to snip this connector off. Just 2 wires. And splice it into there. Not a big deal. I don't know, LED or regular light? Hard to say. I'll have to give that some thought. Anyway, we'll remove that. And I'm gonna take this off and drill it on my drill press. I don't really just want to hack a hole through there and have it look crappy. So I'm gonna try to do a good job. So I already mounted it, but I'll have to take it back off. Not a big deal. Okay, so we're gonna put this on as a little template. So I need to drill my holes. We're just gonna punch a little mark here for the drill press. And same for this side. So now I got a little start for my drill. All right, nothing overly exciting here. Just gonna drill a hole where I punched the mark. There we go. Nice hole there and there. I'll just deburr that and then we'll get a washer and mount it. All right, so I got my pilot hole in there. Now I'm just going to open this up a little bit. And then just deburr the back. There we go, nice little hole. Now our screw should go through here and bolt up to the signal light. Okay, so we got our little hole in here. But unfortunately, the stock screw is too short to go through that and into this. So I searched and searched, and luckily I found a nice stainless one. So I've got these marked left and right, these signal lights. Wire that through there like that. Put this clip on. I'm going to put a little dab of Loctite on there because there's only one screw holding it on. Don't want it coming loose. And we'll drop a little washer on there. Like so. And of course, you you gotta come up here when I got the Loctite over the cat. Watch out, cat. So that's basically how it's gonna look. Okay, so I'm gonna take this original light, cut it off, and take this new LED, cut it off, and then I'm going to put this connector on this. At least that's the plan. So, I'm gonna give myself a little bit of extra, cut it about there, and cut this there. I will strip these wires and then we'll get them connected. So I got it kind of wired up like this. Now I'll put this other black wire, twist it up a bit. Drop it down in there, and we'll crimp that together. Okay, so I got this all wired up. Some quick release ends to go inside. Looking good, but I'm really not happy with just one little bolt. Actually, it's not even a bolt, it's just a little screw holding on the rear taillight. And these things, these bikes, they have a lot of vibration right at the very end of the end of the bike where the tail section is. So I'm afraid that even though I put some Loctite on that, I'm afraid it's going to come loose. So I spoke with my client today, and I made a recommendation to get some aftermarket ones that have a big bolt that sticks through here with a nut. I think it'd be much safer. So I'm going to put these on temporarily, but we are going to swap these out. So I got them a nice set of carbon fiber ones. Okay, so we got our LEDs working, and we'll try the signal light. Looking good. So we'll button this back up. We got her all tied up nicely inside there and tucked away good under here, going up into that hole. So it's looking pretty nice. Here we go. We got the snaps back in and the bolts back on. Everything in there good. Tied down. A little toolbox strapped in properly. A little oil in the latches, all ready to go back together. So this piece here, I oiled it all up, oiled everything up in here so it just slides in nicely. There's a couple of little hooks. See the way it hooks there and there? Just slides in. So I start off the bottom ones first, and then I gently bring up to the top ones. And there she is, easy peasy, and then just bolt it into place. Don't want to over tighten these. You just put them in by hand tight, snug. It's just plastic. Keep a little downward pressure when you're tightening it, just so it stays, keeps all the seams together. There she is. Bolt down the seat, put the little cowling cover on, and we're good. There it is, tail tidy. Old signal lights, we're getting new ones, carbon fiber ones, but it definitely tidies this up quite a bit nicer. You can see all that bulk from the back has been taken off. So when I put this carbon fiber chain guard on, I noticed when I took the old one off, it only had 2 screws, one here, bolts, one here and one there. But there's actually a tab for a 3rd one here. So the old one was missing, which is not good because you don't want this wobbling, hitting the tire at high speed. So I'm going to make sure I put a bolt on there with some Loctite and get it in there and tighten it down. Keep it away from the, you see the flex, watch. See, that's loose, tight. So these are things you gotta look, see the big gap? These are things you gotta watch out for when you're doing some maintenance on bikes. You can see the adjusters here, so 1, 2, 3, and there's a mark down there. So it's almost at 3. So I'll check the other side, make sure that it's around the same spot. And then when we put it back on, we'll know that that's about where it should be. I may go a little tighter because the chain is a tad bit loose. Not too bad, but I'm going to tighten that up a bit. So you can see I gave us a little bit of space here now, so we'll have some wiggle room. Let's just go back on it. Let's go check the other side and see what it looks like. So 1, 2, almost 3. So we'll loosen that off and we'll pull that axle out. Okay, you can see I've loosened this off now and threaded that bolt in a little bit, so I got a little bit of space. So now that should give me some wiggle room to get that axle out. So back around to the other side here now. Got a little rubber mallet. Thread this out a little bit. Give this a couple of whacks. You see how it's pushing the axle in. Oops. That should be starting to come out on the other side. See, it's getting a little loose there now. Oops. Oh. See, it's starting to come out. Now we can continue taking this off. The washer. It's coming out there now. Now let's grab that, pull it out. See, it's out pretty far now, so I should be able to keep pulling this out here now. You can see how the wheel is loose now. So I'll pull that out and let the wheel drop, take the chain off, we're good. There we go, so we just lifted the brake caliper out of the way and passing the chain guard here. And yeah, just ready to start balancing. All right, so now that I got the wheel off, I can take a little peek inside, make sure everything's good. And while I got this caliper off, this gives me a good opportunity to have a look at the brake pads. Brake pads look pretty good. Lots of pad left on them. That should be fine. I might put a little bit of grease on the slider while I have it off. And this is where that bolt was missing, the chain guard. So it gives me an opportunity to be able to put a new one in there. A little more space now that the wheel's off. The axle itself looks really dry. Looks like it's been a long time since this has been off. Oh, there is grease in here. That's good. Looks old though. We'll re-grease that while we're at it. clean this up. Get some more grease in there. Bit of a stormy day in the shop. Sunny out there, but quite dark on the other side. Well, it shouldn't keep us from keeping on working. So I just cleaned up this wheel a little bit, and I'm just going to scrape off some of this crud before I balance it. You see there's actually a silver sprocket underneath all this. I like to give it a good cleanup. Get all this stuff off. You see it's really caked on. So there's the same sprocket, just for a little bit of cleaning. You see how dirty that was before. You wouldn't even believe that that's the same sprocket. So we're ready to balance this now. I just flipped over to the other side and you can see where the old wheel weights were on there before. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit too. Alright, so we got this rear wheel on the balancer, and we're going to rotate it and see where it stops each time. And if it keeps stopping at the same spot every time, that means that it's heavy down here, so we would put a weight up here. Look how nicely that sprocket cleaned up. It looks really good. So I took the old weights off the back. As you can see, there was a little mark where the weights used to be. So I'm kind of curious when I'm doing this if that is still going to be the spot to add weight on the bottom. So we'll see. We'll rotate it around a few times, and we'll see where we're at. So this wheel is so big that it's actually touching here and here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move these arms out to the bigger size, because this is actually the biggest wheel I've ever had to balance. Okay, I got this widened out and leveled. Got a little leveling device there. Put this back on. There should be more room there now. Just have to spread that out a little bit and we should be good. There, that's a little more like it. We're going to rotate it a few times and see where it stops, and then we'll add weight accordingly. Okay, it seems to be stopping randomly at all different points, which would indicate a balanced wheel, but there's no weights on it. So I want you to listen really carefully. Can you hear kind of a hissing noise? Shh, like that. Those are called balance beads. So it appears that this bike has got balance beads put inside it. So it's actually self-balancing itself. So it doesn't actually need weights. So that's actually good news. So looking at the condition of the tire, it doesn't look too bad. Lots of tread left. You can see how it's kind of flat here compared to the edges. So he must spend a lot of time on the highway or something, because I can actually feel kind of a flatter spot here. So it's wearing a little bit more on the center than on the sides. But that's okay, there's still some life left in this tire. I'm going to try to see if you can hear that those balance beats. So I'm going to be quiet while I start to turn it. So obviously you'll hear nothing, and then you'll hear that kind of like a scraping or rubbing sound, but it's the little beads falling around inside that are balancing as it's rotating. So here we go. Can you hear them? You can actually hear those if you shake the wheel too. So I'll see if you can hear it by doing that. I'm not sure if you'll hear it, but let's try. Hear that inside? Those are the balance speeds. So this tire is good, wheel's good, it's all cleaned up. We'll put some grease on it, we'll put it back on the bike, and then we'll check the front one. So these little spacers for the wheels are pretty dirty, so I'm just going to clean them up a little bit. There we go. That looks a little cleaner. So I gave this rear axle a good cleanup. I'll put some grease on that before I put it back in. I'm just going to clean up this little tail section while I got the wheel off. It's a hard to reach area when the wheel's on, so might as well give it a little cleanup while I'm here. Not gonna hurt it. Okay, so I got the axle greased up. I got all the spacers greased up. Now and I got the caliper put into place. I might have to move it. Now we'll get the wheel ready to get into place here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to move it out of the way. Just for the time being. Slide that up, get the chain over the sprocket. Just rest that on there for now. Now we'll put the caliper back in place. There's a little slot on this side. It'll go into the little groove. Lift the wheel up, I can slip the caliper in place. There we go. So we're just going to check the tire pressure. Make sure we're good. So we're at 41.5. I think I'm going to turn that down a little bit. It seems to be a bit high. Double check. .5. .5. I think we'll leave it there. Good for street. He does a lot of highways, so we'll leave it on the high spot, but 41.5 was just a little too high. All right, so I just finished checking the front tire for air pressure, and the valve stem, the Schrader valve was leaking, so I took it out and replaced it and filled it up with air, and it's now good as well. All right, so what's gonna look better? These great big signal lights that are on here that are barely holding on, or these nice carbon fiber ones that tuck in nicely and match up good with the chain guard, the lever guards, and the front fender. I think these are going to look really cool. So let's put these babies on. Okay, I got these new signal lights, LEDs with carbon fiber, all wired up. Let's see if they work. So we'll go with the right one. Nice and bright. Front one works. And now we'll try the left. Nice. Nice and bright. All right, so we finally got the last piece for that ZX6R. This part was not in production, so they actually made this part just for my client. So we had to wait a little while for it. So I feel bad that it's taken a while to get this bike done, but it's all you can do when you got to wait for parts. These guys make good quality parts, so I'm sure it's well worth the wait. Hot bodies, they make really good stuff. Really nice carbon fiber. A couple extra decals. So if this is anything like the last components we got, I'm expecting this to be really nice. Sometimes things are worth the wait. Nicely packaged to protect it. All right, here we go. Nice little tire hugger. That's gonna look so good on that bike. Just get a load of that quality. That is nice. I'll show you where it's gonna go. Take that one off, and we'll put this bad boy right in there. Oh, very nice. Okay, so we got the new tire hugger in. So I'm gonna pull off this one and install the new one. So just 3 bolts holding it on. I'll need an extension to get at the other side because the exhaust is in the way. Should be fairly straightforward. But what I'm going to do is there was a hole in the back of the swing arm, and it's not threaded, so there's no way of attaching the center portion of the chain guard. So I'm going to try to run a tie wrap from here down to the mounting hole for the chain guard just by going in the back. So you won't even see it, but it'll help give it a little bit of support. So that's the old one. All right, so there's the old one. I was a little worried when I saw this here. This is for the rear brake line to go through. I didn't think the new one was gonna have that, but look at that. So it's gonna fit nicely. All right, so I'm gonna clean up this area in here a little bit before I install the new tire hugger. But I'm just gonna put it on for temporary just to see what it looks like. Check the fit. It does fit nicely over that brake line, which is good. I'll just put a bolt in here just to hold it for now. I'm gonna Loctite this down. Don't want that coming loose. That looks super sharp. Very nice. All right, so we'll give her a little bit of a cleanup in here. Okay, so here's what I'm dealing with here. The chain guard, it's got a little tab on it, and there is a hole in the swing arm. Can't really see it because the wheel's there, but it's not threaded, so I can't attach it. It doesn't seem like it's thick enough for me to tap that hole. But I do have this hole here for the tire hugger. So what I'm thinking is I got the zip tie. It's got a hole in it. So if I can get the bolt to go through that hole, and then I can run the zip tie through here and then pull it back so that it's attaching here, I can snug this in place. That's the theory. Let's see what I can do. It's a nice tight fit. Leave it a little loose. Hopefully that's going to save me. Okay, so I just did a dry fit with the old one because I didn't want to damage the carbon one, and I want to put some Loctite in that on this bolt. But that looks like it's going to do the trick. And I'll just make it so that it's over here like that, and it's going to go down and around. Back on. Nice. Okay, here we go. Real deal. Carbon piece. We're going to drop a little Loctite into these holes. Normally I put it on the bolt, but I don't want to get it all over this carbon piece. And now we'll just have to get the other side, but look how nicely that's snugged up. I'll just trim off that And you can see how it's holding that in. It's all tucked out of the way. You can barely see it. Okay, so here's the tire hugger installed with our modifications. We got the bolt on there with Loctite and Loctite. And if you look in here, you can see how the tab is now secured with the zip tie, special zip tie. And the other side is also bolted down. It's got the guard for the brake line, steel guard. Bolted down, everything is all nicely in place. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and make sure you stay tuned on the next episode where we're going to put this titanium Hindle exhaust on this 1998 Kawasaki ZX6R. So we want to hear what that's going to sound like. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments section what you think of these two exhaust systems, and what you think of some of the comments in this video. I really appreciate it. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one. Keep the sunny side up and the rubber side down. Think that's going to look a little nicer.